Hey there, everybody. My name is Keno, and welcome back to your Montreal Canadiens franchise mode series here on NHL 24. And I know it's been a while, but between the new Fixing History series that I dropped on NHL 20 and MLB The Show 24 dropping, I really didn't have time to record a Montreal Canadiens or a Toronto Maple Leafs episode, for that matter. And honestly, I can't believe I've been uploading almost every day this week. It's been a little bit of a fun ride. I've been happy, but I am excited to get back with this Montreal Canadiens team in a way, because something dawned on me when I was trying to catch up on where we were and how the team looks and everything like that, and it was a little bit of a scary thought. So obviously in the last episode, we made a trade acquiring defenseman Matthew Schaefer, and he's been a pretty solid addition, logging 13 points in 25 games with an average around 22 minutes per night. He's been really good for us. There's no doubt that I think he was the missing piece that we really needed to acquire in order to make this team super powerful. But that brought me to the realization when I was trying to catch myself up, as I said, that we have 7 players that are 90 overall or higher. Schaefer, Reinbacher, Cooley, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, and Pettersson, all 90 plus. Beyond that, Hudson's 89. Farrell's not playing this season, but he's 88. Then you have Mason St. Louis, at 86. Logan Hensler, 86. Seth Shelley, 86. Kirby Dach, 86. Caden Gooley, 86. Kuznetsov's not playing, but he's an 84. Ryan Johnson, 84. Theo Modano, 84. Ezra Rabbit, 84. Christopher Ellison, 84. William Stromgren, 83. What I'm trying to say here is that this team is a super team. They are the definition of a super team. Even our goaltending, Emil Vini and Gabriel Dag, 89 and 88 respectively. And I say all that to reference back to what I said earlier, but the fact that I'm not as excited because we should have won a damn cup by now. We have this powerful of a team. We have this scary of a team. Lane Hudson is one of the best defenders to ever have touched the ice, along with Cale Makar and Bobby Orr. He's up there in that echelon, and we haven't won a Stanley Cup. We have Elias Pettersson, Cole Caulfield, Yuri Slavkovsky, Logan Cooley, Nick Suzuki on our team, and we haven't even got to the Stanley Cup Finals yet? You can see why it's a little shocking to me. I'm hoping to God that we can make it past the second round this year, but I don't even think in all of our time that we've made it to the conference finals, I think. I can't remember, but this team, it's been a little disappointing if you think about our playoff success, and we definitely have to make it this year. I mean, the team is doing astoundingly well this year. Looking at our forwards alone, Suzuki with 62 points in 50 games, Caulfield with 59 and 48, including 29 goals, Pettersson with 51 and 50, Cooley with 47 and 50, already setting a career high, and he's got 32 games left in the season. Mason St. Louis, I keep saying Martin St. Louis, Mason St. Louis with 42 points in 41 games in his first shot at NHL action. Yuri Slavkovsky with 27 goals in 45 games, on pace for at least another 30 or 40 goal season. Christopher Ellison with 32 and 50. Shelley with 31 and 50. Those aren't as great, especially considering that it drops so significantly after that, with Doc having only 17 points in 47 games, but with no real ice time or power play time. This team is doing so good. And defensively, Hudson back to a point per game defender with 54 and 50. Reinbacher on pace for his best season yet with 25 points in 46 games. Schaefer, as we saw, he was doing good with us since we've acquired him. Gooley's a little slower this season, but again, he's not playing on the top pair or even the top 4. He's on the third line. And let's not forget Gabriel Dag, 23 wins in 35 games, 1 shutout, and a .910 save percentage with a .281 goals against average. And this is on high scoring. This guy is playing godly, and he's only 22. We currently sit 31, 12, and 7 through 50 games, and you know what? I think we have it in us to go all the way, but if we don't, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. But I think that's enough of a recap for you guys. Let's jump back into the simming. As is tradition with the first and last games of each video, we have to slow sim it, so let's jump in to this game at the Bell Center against the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm hoping to get the ball rolling with a win here, so let's see. First period. And it's scoreless after 1, but we are pounding them with shots 16-7. Let's see, second period. And that was a crazy second period. All I see is red in the scoreboard, but it's not in our favor, unfortunately. Former Montreal Canadian Quentin Musty gets the scoring going for the Blackhawks before Slavkovsky ties it up just for Elias Lindholm to put them back ahead. Elias Pettersson, though, ties it up for your Montreal Canadiens. Jan Jenik takes the lead again for the Blackhawks, followed by Tippett making it 4-2, just for Elias Pettersson to double dip and make it 4-3. We are heading into the third period trailing by 1, but we're still hounding them with shots. We just need some consistent goaltending, which is shocking because Gabriel Dag usually is that. But let's see, third period, and he doesn't Well, actually, that wasn't his fault. It's an empty netter by Isaac Phillips. Puts the Blackhawks up finally 5-3, and they really got the shots there. Almost 18 shots in that third period alone. We still outshot them 43-32, but it wasn't enough for us to win. Honestly, that's a little shocking to me. So it is a loss to start the video, but hopefully we can get the ball rolling. We are going to go through the trade deadline in this video. I don't know what moves we really have to make. I think our team's pretty solid, but let's go against the Toronto Maple Leafs here. Game 52 of the season, pretty identical records, and Theo Modano has returned. Let me get him into the lines, and then we'll see if we won that game. And we lost that game against the Leafs 6-2, and I got to make a goaltending change. It is Emil Vini's net, and I have mentioned this before, but sometimes it's very strange that you can be doing a simulation, going through your save file, go like 40 games into the season, you know, I've had enough, I'm going to save it, I'm going to exit, and then you come back the next day and you start simming, and now your goalie, who was doing absolutely fantastically the night before, is suddenly a subpar, if not terrible goalie who's letting in every goal. Now, this could just be a little bit of a rough patch for Gabriel Dag. We have been running him heavy. Emil Vini has been struggling, so let's see if he can bounce back. We're going up here against the New York Rangers. I didn't get Theo Modano back in the lineup because he was still a little banged up, but now I'll get him back in. All right, Modano's back in. Ezra Rabbit is scratched again. That is unfortunate. Maybe it's time to start looking at moving on from him. But it is Valentine's Day at Madison Square Garden. We are facing off against the New York Rangers. Let's see. They've been on a pretty good streak lately. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. Can we beat them? Game 53 of the season, and we lose Cole Caulfield till February 25th. So only about like 10 days, but it's still rough as it is. I'm just going to do replace players. Let's see if we won that game. We lost it 2-1. Okay. How do we do against the Tampa Bay Lightning here, who are struggling so far this season? We lose 8-3. So we're starting this video with a 4-game losing streak, and that's just fully unacceptable to me. I know we moved on from Lucas Dostal in the last video, sending him to the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I kind of wish we hadn't. I think we should have moved on from Emil Vini. I know we needed the cap space, and Emil Vini is a value contract. 8 wins, though, in 21 games, and an .876 save percentage with a .394 goals against average. He is almost as bad as Fleury was in his last, year in the NHL. This is not a playable goalie for us. This is a guy who just does not have it for the Montreal Canadiens. So that might be something we do at the trade deadline, see if we can find another actual competent goaltender. And I don't mean to dunk on Emil Vini, okay? I've seen him do good before, but for some reason, he can't do good here. But let's go against the Los Angeles Kings here, game 55 of the season. We're coming up fast on the trade deadline, and I need to know that this team can actually win games again. Let's go. How do we fare at the Bell Center? We lose 6-3. That's 5 games to start this video that we've dropped. That's completely unacceptable. A back-to-back here against the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Vegas Golden Knights. Can we get at least one win here? Come on, against the Pittsburgh Penguins, it's a 4-3 loss. That's 6 losses to start the video. Against the Vegas Golden Knights, second half of the back-to-back. Can we get a win here? I'm keeping Dag in net. Logan Cooley is now down with a strained hamstring until pretty much the trade deadline. I'm going to replace him, and we lose that 5-3. That's 7 games that we've lost in a row to start the video. I don't even know how to fathom that. I don't even know how to comprehend that. Coming up on the end of February, and I've made some minor line changes. I have demoted Lane Hudson and Theo Modano down to the second pair, bumping up Schaefer and Reinbacher because Hudson was struggling. He was struggling a lot. His minuses were building up, and for a guy who is a point per game defender, you should be seeing at least an even plus minus. And I will say again, I've said it 100 times before, plus minus is not a good statistic to judge a player's defensive capabilities off of, but in EA Sports NHL world, that's all we really have until they add different metrics like Franchise Hockey Manager has, where you can see their defensive ratings, their offensive ratings. We won't be able to know. Aside from that, Cole Caulfield is slightly banged up, but he's back in lineup on that top line. It's Seth Shelley with them on that top line, and I don't know what else to do. We have Emil Vini in net. If he loses both these games, he's gone. He is gone. Okay, I need him to get a win. I need him to bounce back here. Game 58 of the season against the Nashville Predators, who are a sub-500 team, so this should be a win for a team as powerful as this. Can we get one? We're going to quick sim this one. And Caden Primo's out with back spasm for Laval. That's fine. We might call him up. Cole Caulfield's fully returned, and we have won 5-2. We've ended the 7-game losing streak to start this video. Good news. Can we keep it going? I can't believe it was Emil Vini to do it. but he must have known. He must have known. When I was a kid, I used to have this saying called can 'em. If a player couldn't do good, I would say can 'em, and suddenly they would start doing good, as if they could hear me through the game. We're up against the Tampa Bay Lightning here. They just recently fired their head coach. They're way below 500. We should be able to get another easy win here. Let's go against the Lightning, game 59 of the season, and it's a 5-4 overtime loss. What in the absolute hell is going on? Keeping the ball rolling, 3 games left till the trade deadline. There are going to be some major moves because this team can't apparently get their game together right when we need them to. Against the Arizona Coyotes, game 60 of the season, we are 1-7-2 through our last 10, which is not acceptable for a super team by any means. Let's go against the Coyotes, game 60. Primo's healed. He's probably going to come up to the NHL soon. We win that one 4-3. Okay, so Vinny has gotten a point in the 3 straight games that he's played, at least. That's a good sign. Against the Philadelphia Flyers here at game 61 of the season, how do we fare? It's a 3-2 win. Okay, things are starting to get even now. Maybe I panicked a little too much too soon, but you know what? We shouldn't have even lost 7 in a row. That's absolutely startling, and crazy mystifying to me, but we got to keep going here. All right, 1 game before the trade deadline. Logan Cooley is fully healed. He's back in the lineup. It is a fully healthy lineup again. We still have Emil Vini in net. I'm going to slow sim this game. If we win this one, maybe we don't need to make moves, but I still think we got to take a look at the market because something is a little wrong with this team. But we're on the road at Ball Arena in Colorado. Can we get a win here in game 62 of the season? First period. And it's scoreless after 1 shots, 14-7 for your Montreal Canadiens. Let's go second period. And we're down 2-0 after 2 shots, 25 apiece. We're heading into the third trailing, but I think we can bounce back. We need to bounce back. Vini's playing a pretty good game. Let's see. Third period. I jinxed him. Vini did terribly in that third period. Actually, no, he didn't. I don't know what the hell. Oh my god. Okay, so Pettersson gets the only goal for your Montreal Canadiens before Miles Wood gets an empty netter, followed by Gabe Landeskog getting an empty netter, and then with 5 seconds left, Emil Vini allows the 3rd goal against him on his 38th shot. So I can't really blame Emil Vini for this game. Even though it's a 5-1 loss, he was only in net for 3 of them. I don't even know how to comprehend this kind of loss. To start this video, we were just trailing the Anaheim Ducks for the 2nd place team in the NHL. We're not even in the top 8 now, okay? We have to go all the way down to 9th is where we are. We only picked up 6 points, 4 points, something like 5 points so far this video, and we've simmed 12 games? What the hell is that? We're the 4th highest scoring team in the NHL. The Anaheim Ducks are on sicko mode right now. We're almost exactly mid-table when it comes to goals against per game. Our power play is 8th in the NHL, and our penalty kill is 9th in the NHL. We're a pretty middling team. Suddenly, I don't even know if these stats dropped significantly since the start of this video, but it's all kind of startling to me. So before we jump into the trade deadline, I'm going to take a quick look around at what can be done for this team, what needs to be done for this team, and I'll be back with you guys before we jump into the deadline. All right, I have a trade in the chamber, and as you can see, it's moving on from 2 big pieces of our team. But I think it is for the best. As I said, I want to win now. Kirby Dach was one of the great players for us when we started this franchise mode series. I mean, look at that. 67 points, 31 goals in the first season, 71 points in the second season, 60 in the third. Then he started slowing down, 54, 55. This season, he's down to 23 points in 59 games because we're just not giving him the ice time over Mason St. Louis. Ezra Rabbit doesn't fit into the lineup. He's still only 21. He's going to develop into a great defender, but we don't need another defensive defender. I mean, look how far down the list he drops. He shouldn't be under Theo Modano, but Modano has been playing great. He's a right-handed defender, and he's a two-way. He works perfectly with Lane Hudson. I don't think we need to move on from him. With all that being said, the question is, who are we getting back in return? And the answer, Jordan Kyrou. He's 30 years old, he's 2 years older than Dach, and he's still got 3 years left on his contract. So this year and 2 more after it, but look at how he's done. He's got 32 goals, 36 assists, 68 points through 62 games this season. I don't know if you remember from the last video, but I stressed the reason I kept Dach over Musty was because I needed a righty and a right winger. Jordan Kyrou is that replacement right winger, and he's got great zone abilities and superstar X factors to boost him over Dak. Now, I will admit that I'm a little concerned about the cap hit when it comes to Jordan Kyrou. He's got $8.8 million. I'm hoping they can retain $1.8 million of that, dropping him down to a $7 million forward for this year, next year, and the year after that. But I'm not sure if they'll be able to take that. I'm throwing in our second round pick from this year. That's the highest pick that we have in this year's draft. As I said, picks don't matter right now. It's win now. It's all about win now. So let's see if they'll accept this. I don't know if they will, but I'm sure as hell hoping so. And I do have another trade to make after this. So Ezra Rabbit, Kirby Dak, and a second round pick for Jordan Kyrou and Cohen Zimmer just to equal out the roster spaces. But Kyrou at $1.8 million retained for this year and the 2 years after. Will this go through? It will not. They're not comfortable retaining the salary that we're asking them to keep. Okay. I don't know what I can add, and I found what to add, and it is going to be the prospect that we got in last year's draft, Pete Lyon. Okay, we're only going this year, the year after that, and the year after that, so we're only going another 3 years altogether. And although Pete Lyon's doing great, he's still a 52 overall at 18 years old. Medium elite potential is great, but he's not going to factor in for us, unfortunately. So I think it's perfect to add him. We'll do Rabbit, Doc, Lyon, and maybe a lower pick. We're going to drop it to a third round pick 2 years from now in the 2031 draft. So pretty much the last draft that we'd be doing, but it'll be Ezra Rabbit, Kirby Dak, Pete Lyon, the prospect that we drafted last year, and a third round pick 2 years from now for Cohen Zimmer, who's just a roster slot, and Jordan Kyrou at $1.8 million retained. Will this go through? It does. Okay, that was enough to push it over the tipping point, and I'm glad we got him at $1.8 million retained. It looks like it was just enough for them to accept. I feel really good about that trade. Okay, now I want to address two things quickly. I've made the line changes, and I'll show you guys them in a second. But the one thing I want to address is that why am I not doing this in the trade deadline screen? I don't preferably like it. Okay, it puts a lot of pressure on me to get it done, and sometimes when I'm trying to acquire a player, they're gone before I can even get the trade done. I like to nickel and dime, and I like to take my time. A lot of teams, as you've seen in this most recent real-life NHL trade deadline, they don't wait for the trade deadline day. Some do. Some try to get it done right up to that last minute. Other teams pull the trigger early as soon as they can so that they get it done. That's what I wanted to do here. We've acquired Jordan Kyrou. Our team looks a lot better in the forward core, but I'm not done yet. The next trade I'm looking to make is it's a different one, okay? We're going to be moving on from William Stromgren, who just hasn't panned out for us. I mean, he's a -12 with 11 points in 61 games for a team that he should be doing a lot better on. We're going to be also packaging him with a second round pick and a fifth round pick, to the Tampa Bay Lightning for Andrei Vasilevskiy. Now, hear me out. He's on an expiring contract, and yes, he's having a very rough season this year, but he's still getting wins. He has a better win percentage than Emil Vini currently does. And yes, his save percentage is pretty garbage. His goals against average is pretty garbage as well. But if you look at his shots against, he's faced 1,631 shots against. He usually leverages massive amounts of shots against per game since the franchise mode series has started, and he's done fairly well per season, fairly average actually. He got 40 wins last season, 17 losses, a .906 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. He has been pretty good. Yes, he's getting up there. He's 34. He's dropped to an 88 overall. I mean, if you do the math, he's facing just under 31 shots per game on average throughout 53 games played. And if we compare that to Emil Vini, Vini is up to an 884 with 11 wins through 27 games, but he's faced 817 shots through those 27 games. He's played a little more than half the games that Andrei Vasilevskiy has played and already faced a little less than half the shots. For me, that 0.5 of difference from 30.7 to 30.15 is the difference of maybe having a 42 to 50 shot game against, where Vasilevskiy might have allowed 6 or 7 goals. We don't know just what he's gone through, but I think this is a fair trade. I'm done trying to justify it. I'm bringing Andrei Vasilevskiy to the Montreal Canadiens in hopes that he can win us the Stanley Cup as he did for the Tampa Bay Lightning many years ago at this point. So let's see, Stromgren, a second and a fifth for Andrei Vasilevskiy. Will this go through? No, it will not. It just needs a little bit more. And you know what? I'm going to nickel and dime it. We're going to add Stromgren, a second, a fifth, a seventh, and a sixth over the next 3 drafts to get Andrei Vasilevskiy. That's 4 magic beans for them. So, one of them pretty good. The other ones they can probably hit with because Tampa Bay Lightning is known for hitting late in the draft. Let's see. Stromgren a 2nd, a 5th, a 7th, and a 6th to the Tampa Bay Lightning for Andrei Vasilevskiy. Will this go through? It does. They're happy to accept that proposal on behalf of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They consider it a done deal. So let me get the lines officially set up, and I'll be back with you guys. All right, folks, and this is your new lineup for the Montreal Canadiens. We have Logan Cooley with Suzuki and the newest addition, Jordan Kyrou, because I think Kyrou will do well on that top line with Suzuki and Cooley. He currently has 32 goals in 62 games. He's listed as a sniper. It works out perfectly, in my opinion, and it also gives a great attribute boost. I mean, they're +4 there. Slavkovsky, Patterson, Caulfield is a +5, and then on that third line, you have Seth Shelley with Christopher Ellison and Mason St. Louis at a +4. You heard it again. I almost said Martin St. Louis, but it's Seth Shelley, Ellison, and St. Louis as a +4 on the third line with, guess who's back? Raphael Harvey-Pinard on that fourth line with Tim Almgren and Charlie Strommel. I think this team looks freaking fantastic, in my opinion. And you can call me out all you want. I did not think there was a need to make a defensive change. We have 3 defensemen that are 89 overall and higher, and 2 that are 86 overall. What are we going to add? I know that Forsling was also available from the Lightning. What were we going to add to like, how was Forsling going to slot in over Modano, Hensler, Gooley, Hudson, Schaefer, Reinbacher? It didn't make sense. Defensively, we did not need to make a move. And then in net, now wearing the red, white, and blue of the Habs is Andrei Vasilevskiy, with Dag currently backing him up, but I do plan to run Dag more than Vasilevskiy. And yes, that does mean that Emil Vini was demoted to the AHL. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. He wasn't playing NHL caliber hockey. And I know that Vasilevskiy isn't either, but I'm hoping that Vasilevskiy does good. That all being said, we're done with the trade deadline. We're going to move right through it. I'm going to go in to see what's still available. Maybe there's something that catches my eye, but we're going to keep the current trade block, see what's available, and probably just sim right through it. But let's see. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I really heavily considered acquiring 41-year-old Sidney Crosby and bringing him to the Montreal Canadiens to see if he could win a cup for us. Having 2 Stanley Cup champions on this team, that seems like a hell of a good idea. But where would he play? At 41, he's still 90 overall, first line forward. He's still over a point per game with 58 points in 52 games. This guy's been absolutely astounding. I have no idea where I'd put him. Not a single faintest clue. Okay, I just went through the forward lineups. We have Cooley, Suzuki, Kyrou. We have Slavkovsky, Patterson, Caulfield. We have Shelley with rookie Ellison and St. Louis on that third line. And then the fourth line, maybe we bump down Ellison, put him on the fourth with Harvey-Pinard and Charlie Strommel and knock out Tim Almgren. I think that could work, but that's Sidney Crosby as a third line center for the Montreal Canadiens? And you know what happened? It's exactly what I was talking about. I was about to make the trade. I talked myself into it, and he was traded. So, Sidney Crosby does not get a chance to win a cup with the Montreal Canadiens or carry us to a Stanley Cup. And that's it. That's the only trade I was considering making. We could grab Anton Lundell, sure, but again, we run into that same problem of where are we going to put him when we don't really need him. There's a lot of great players here, but the only one I was considering was Sid the Kid, or not so much a kid anymore, and he was moved. And to the Minnesota Wild, no less. That's really unfortunate. But that's going to be it. I'm not going to make any other trades here. I think we're done. I mean, there's Parsonen, but he's got term. There's Farabee, but he's got term. Anton Lundell doesn't have term, but I don't know what we'd have to give up to grab him. Long story short, it's too much. I'm not moving on from Caden Gooley, Fize, and another prospect. It's just not going to happen. So that's going to be it for us at the trade deadline. We grabbed Kyrou. We grabbed Vasilevskiy. I think that's all the moves that we really needed to make for this team. It's really unfortunate that we didn't get Sid the Kid. I was really hoping to, but there you see it right there. He goes to the Minnesota Wild for Daxon Rudolph, goalie A. Schumacher, and a second-round pick in 2030. I was going to give them so much more. Holy crap. But that's it. That's it for our trade deadline. We're going to go through the rest of the season here. There were a lot of moves. I mean, Hanifin to the Predators for Jack Drury. A lot of moves there, but we are good with what we have. Let's go. We still have Tyler Seguin down with Laval, but let's see how we do. The first game with this new look team against the Washington Capitals. We're going to quick sim this one because I am on a bit of a time limit, and Harvey-Pinard immediately goes down to a strained hamstring. We're going to replace him, and we win that one 7-3. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's keep going here. Back-to-back against divisional opponents, both the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins, followed right up by the Ottawa Senators and then the Minnesota Wild. So we can show Crosby what he missed out on, hopefully. But let's focus on the now. We're up against the Buffalo Sabres, first half of back-to-back. How do we fare? It's a 7-2 win. Oh, against the Boston Bruins, who are a struggling 500 team this season at the Bell Center, second half of the back-to-back. How do we fare against the Bruins? It's a 5-2 win. Oh my lord. Okay, against the Ottawa Senators, another divisional opponent. We're catching up quickly to the Maple Leafs here. We still have a game in hand. How do we do against the Senators in game 66 of the season? And Vasilevsky goes down to a torn hamstring till the end of April? Oh, come on! All right, it is Gabriel Dagg's net, and no, I didn't call up Emil Vini. It's going to be Caden Primo backing him up. But I'm not going to lie, I just looked at the forward core again. It looks beautiful, but imagine how much more beautiful it would have looked with Sidney Crosby between Seth Shelley and Mason St. Louis. Oh man, that would have been beautiful. And then Xavier Simoneau, Christopher Ellison, and Charlie Strommel on that fourth line. Oh, magnifique. But it is what it is. It did not happen. Let's move on. And we won that one against the Senators anyway, 7-6. You know, we've done pretty good without him anyhow. So let's see how we do against him now with this game against the Minnesota Wild, game 67 of the season. And we're going to quick send this one. It is a St. Patrick's Day game. Hopefully we win this. I do have Irish in my family, or my wife's family, and we lose that 5-4. So that's really unfortunate. We're still rolling though. We're picking up points for 7-1-2, considering the fact that we started this video with a 7-game losing streak. That's a good bounce back. Against the New Jersey Devils, game 68 of the season, Harvey Pinard's back. We lose that one 7-0. Okay, so guess who's out of the net? So it is Caden Primo's net, and you know what? I got to address one thing. The only goalie on the original roster who's won a game this season, aside from Dag getting officially credited for that 7-6 win over the Ottawa Senators, was Emil Vini. He won a few games for us. Maybe we should have called him up instead of Primo, but I want to give the veteran a chance. Primo did carry us through one season almost all the way to the Stanley Cup final. The third round. We never got to the Stanley Cup final with this team. Let's see, against the Florida Panthers here, again, back-to-back games against divisional opponents. Let's see if we can pick up some wins here. I know the Bruins are struggling. The Florida Panthers are a bad team. Let's see how we do against the Panthers. The 8-5 loss. Okay, we'll give Primo one more game, but we might call up Emil Vini right away. Let's see, against the Boston Bruins, who are struggling, a 7-4 win. Okay, we're doing okay. Let's see how we do against the Arizona Coyotes, game 71 of the season, and it is a 3-2 loss. Okay, so we're gonna make some changes. You know, I mostly did it for gits and shiggles, if you know what I mean. But we do have Emil Vini back up with the team. He is, as I said, the only consistent winner of this video. So let's see if he can bring that magic back and get us some more wins. But let's keep going. It is Emil Vini's net. Maybe I could have given Caden Primo another game just to get reacclimated to the NHL. But we know that Vini's been winning for us, even if I've been a little spotty or a little shoddy about him, you know, like not really trusting of him. Hopefully he can prove me wrong. Against the Buffalo Sabres here, another divisional opponent. We're looking for a win. Even though we've only faced lower divisional opponents recently, I hope for a win here. Let's see. How do we fare against the Sabres? It's a 3-0 win. Okay, Emil Vini. Maybe we didn't need to acquire Andrei Vasilevsky. Maybe we could have gone and just targeted Sidney Crosby instead, but I stand by my decisions. I stand by them. At the Bell Center for game 73 of the season against the Tampa Bay Lightning, we don't get to shut them out with Andrei Vasilevsky, but let's see how Emil Vini does against them. They are struggling this season, and it's a 5-2 win. Oh my gosh, maybe I made a decision that was not the best, but we'll keep it going here. We didn't really give up a lot of assets for Vasilevsky, so that doesn't bother me too much. Against the New York Rangers here, game 74 of the season, Jack Finley is healed. Let's see, how do we do? It's a 4-3 win. Holy crow. Now we're up against the Detroit Red Wings, who are trying to catch us currently in the standings. They're just 5 points behind us. We have one game in hand. We're trying to catch up to the Toronto Maple Leafs ourselves, but the Red Wings have been on a tear. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. This is the first half of a back-to-back against the Red Wings and the Hurricanes. How do we do against the Detroit Red Wings in game 75? It's a 3-1 win. Oh, you love to see it. Against the Carolina Hurricanes, second half of the back-to-back, game 76 of the season is a 3-2 loss. I don't really mind that. Let's see, against the New Jersey Devils, game 77 of the season, and it's a 3-1 win. Okay, Emil Vini, that's what I was talking about, okay? I mentioned earlier in the video where I said, you'll sim for a night, you'll decide, hey, I'm going to hop off. Your goalie could have been doing amazing. You hop back on the next day, and now your goalie's terrible. It also works in the reverse, where your goalie's doing terrible, you hawk bomb the next day, and now they're a freaking god. And apparently Emil Vini was the goalie we've been waiting for and that we tried to trade for. So I don't understand what's up with that. We're still 1 point behind the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I think we'll catch them here against the Florida Panthers. They're a struggling team, as we've seen game 78 of the season. How do we do? It's a 4-3 loss. We do get that point though, and we tied the Maple Leafs because they seemed to, they've lost their game. So we're going up here against the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers in a back-to-back, followed by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 79, 80, and 81. I don't know who we're facing for game 82, but maybe it's another original 6 team. Let's see. Against the Boston Bruins, how do we fare in the first half of this back-to-back? It's a 5-2 win, and it's not another original 6 team. In fact, it is going to be the Ottawa Senators that we close the season out against, another divisional team. So let's see how we do on April 10th. We're going to hopefully get back Vasilevsky before the playoffs, but second half of the back-to-back here at Madison Square Garden in New York. How do we do in game 80? It's a 5-3 loss. Okay, I'm still going to keep Vini in net. I don't need to change him. How do we do against the Toronto Maple Leafs? We are trying to catch them. We actually have caught them. We, by tiebreaker, are ahead of them currently in the standings. Can we go ahead even further in game 81 of the season? You know what? I'm going to slow sim this one. All right, game 81 of the season, second last game. Let's see if we can beat the Leafs here. First period. It does not look like we're going to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. Christian Fischer opens the scoring for the Leafs, followed by Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews. Elias Pettersson gets us on the board with a goal against Kochetkov before Nick Robertson puts a goal past Gabriel Dag, Emil Vini having been pulled halfway through the first. Let's see how we do in the second period. We're outshooting them currently, but let's go. Second period. And we get back into this. Elias Pettersson double dips, making it 4-2 before Seth Shelley gets another, making it 4-3. We're 1 goal behind and we're still heavily outshooting them. Can we catch up in the third period? Oh my gosh, it was a scoring fiasco there, but we do catch them. It's Lane Hudson opening the scoring in the third period, tying it up for your Montreal Canadiens before Fisher and Matthews make it 6-4. Just for your Montreal Canadiens to go, Elias Pettersson finishes the hat trick. Christopher Allison makes it 6-6. Nick Suzuki makes it 7-6 for your Montreal Canadiens, and Yuri Slafkovsky gets it to the 8-6 marker, and we win this one heavily. That is one decisive way to come back in a game. Holy crap, 5 third period goals is what I love to see. And we now have a 2-point lead on the Toronto Maple Leafs heading into the final game of the season against the Ottawa Senators. It is the final home game of the season too at the Bell Center. How are we going to do here? I haven't even taken a look at how the team's done. I've kind of just been focusing on how the team as a whole has done, not the individual players. But let's see, can we get our 47th win of the season in game 82? Let's go. As is tradition, we slow sim the first and last games of each video. This is the last game of the season, so we kind of have to do it. But against the Ottawa Senators, first period. All right, it's scoreless after 1 shots, 9-8 for your Montreal Canadiens. Let's see. Second period. High scoring second period here. Two goals from a player who shall not be named for the Ottawa Senators, but it's Seth Shelley and Matthew Schaefer opening the scoring for your Montreal Canadiens. Thomas Chabot gets one for the Senators. Then it's David Reinbacher getting the third goal for your Montreal Canadiens before it's tied up by the Ottawa Senators. Let's see how we do in the third period. All right. It is another high-scoring period. Jordan Kyrou gets a goal for your Montreal Canadiens. Christopher Allison makes it 5-3 before the Senators tied up from goals by Frondell and Shane Pinto. How do we do in the overtime, though? Let's find out. Overtime! And we win it in overtime. You love to see it. But Mason St. Louis is going to be out for a few days with an injured elbow. We're going to replace player now, but that is a great way to catch up and finish this season top of our division. And you know what? We jumped from 9th up to 3rd, clinching the not only division but the conference itself. Holy crap. So we have guaranteed home ice to the Stanley Cup Finals, and unless we face the Anaheim Ducks or the Seattle Kraken, I think we're gonna have guaranteed home ice throughout the entire playoffs. That's pretty freaking good turnaround for us, if I do say so myself. We finished as the second highest scoring team in the league. We're about mid-table when it comes to goals against. We have the 6th best power play, but like the 20th penalty kill. We did pretty rough on the penalty kill throughout the last half of that season. But still, this team did great. Let's look at how our scorers did. So when it comes to forwards, Nick Suzuki leads all skaters with 94 points in 82 games, including 26 goals. You love to see it. Elias Pettersson, 32-goal season, 93 points. Amazing production for that heavy free agent signing. Jordan Kyrou had 21 points in 20 games after we acquired him, reaching 39 goals on the season, his career high. Absolutely putacious. Cole Caulfield didn't hit 40 goals, but he did hit 37. Very good season for him. He had his 106-point season, dropped down for 2 years, and then has come right back up to a point-per-game player, dominating the league. And look at that, Yuri Slafkovsky was 4 goals shy of a 50-goal season, 77 points total in 77 games. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have him have a 50-goal season. Oh, that'd be beautiful. Past that, you have Mason St. Louis with 71 points in 73 games. Logan Cooley almost doubling his career high with 67 points in 78 games. Seth Shelley with 51 in 82. Christopher Ellison in his first season playing third line minutes heavily with 43 points in 82 games. And then Almgren, Semino, and Strommel and Javier Pinard rounding out that bottom 4 forward slots, all under 20 points per for the seasons, which isn't bad. I mean, they're just fourth liners. The rest of the team did astoundingly good, if I do say so myself. And defensively, Lane Hudson did hit the point per game mark. He's up to a 91 overall, 83 points in 82 games. Oh boy, he did good. Matthew Schaefer finished with 33 points in 57 games after we acquired him. 16 of them goals from a defenseman. That's insane. Reinbacher did set a career high in the NHL with 37 points in 78 games. I kind of expected him to go higher, but you know what? He has doubled his career high in goals with 14 goals this season. Next season, I expect him to be absolutely just unstoppable if he just got 14 goals this season. And then after that, Caden Gooley with 22 points in 82 games. Again, he didn't get as many points, but he played a shutdown third pairing role, and I loved it. Logan Hensler, 21 points in 77 games. And Theo Modano, in his first season, 19 points in 64 games. Just freaking great team play all around. David Reinbacher finishes a plus 36. That's crazy to me. And then in net, Emil Vini did turn his season around big time. He went from an .878 save percentage up to an .890 save percentage with a .345 goals against average and 2 shutouts, 19 wins in 38 games. He was the goalie that we needed. Andrei Vasilevsky, on the other hand, I thought he did really well. 3 wins in 4 games played, but an .869 save percentage. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, it's good that we have him. We don't have him past this year. I think it's good insurance. It's very good insurance nonetheless. And then Gabriel Dag did drop off a bit. He ended up playing 47 games, notching 25 wins, 1 shutout, an .898 save percentage, and a .324 goals against average. So a little bit of a drop off from last season, but still a pretty solid season for a 22-year-old netminder. I just really wish that he had done better in that last half of the season, because he did just drop off a cliff, really, in terms of wins and saves. In terms of around the league, though, it was a crazy scoring league. It was a crazy scoring season. We do not have any top scorers. We don't even have any top goal scorers. I don't even think, Slafkovsky just barely slots in, I think, at the 10th spot. But we have Michkov with 58, Svechnikov with 57, DeBrincat with 57, Bedard with 51, Zibanejad with 51, and then past that, you have Pastrnak with 48, Matthews with 47, Carlson with 46. That is a crazy scoring season. And no, I do not expect Lane Hudson to win the Norris Trophy. They really base it off of plus-minus heavily, so it's going to go to Cale Makar for sure, with 94 points in 73 games and a plus 24. Even though Adam Fox had 111 points, which is freaking bananas, it's going to go to Cale Makar for sure. The one thing we will be bringing home is the Calder Trophy. Mason St. Louis, although he was injured in the last bit of that season, notched 71 points in 73 games the last half of the season on the third line, still keeping up pace. Yes, he is an even plus minus, but it's not going to go to Jordan Gavin. Jordan Gavin had almost 20 points less and only a plus 4. Everyone else was pretty damn terrible. Christopher Ellison, the only other plus player in the top 10 or 12. That's saying something. But that is gonna wrap this video up. It was up and down. There were trades made, there were losses, there was a 7-game losing streak to start the video, followed by a crazy finish to the season. I don't know what to think, but this team is ready for the playoffs. Hopefully we actually do it this year. Hopefully we get there this year. I know we have this year, next year, and the year after that to still accomplish it. That's the timeline I've given. But if we win it this year, that'd be great, because then we can jump into the new franchise mode series and we can leave this Montreal Canadiens mode in history, the history books. Winning with a Canadian team, that would be great. Winning with the Montreal Canadiens would be great. I would love to see that. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Leave some comments down below criticizing my trades if you think they were bad. I don't know. I really did hate moving on from Kirby Dach. If there's 3 players that I've hated, 4 players that I've hated moving on from, it's Dach, Xhekaj, Newhook, and Waugh. I did not want to move on from those players. I thought we were making the best trades at the time. Our team is still strong. I don't know where it would be now, though, if we still had those players. The only player that I think was a reasonable one to move on from was Arber Xhekaj, because he was never freaking happy and we could never get him into a good roster spot. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this video, please leave a like down below and let me know the type of content you want to see more of. If you really like it, then why not consider subscribing? You know, it's free. You can do it for 30 days. If you don't like it after 30 days, you can unsubscribe free of charge, okay? It won't go on your credit card, because it never does, because it's free to subscribe, okay? Leave a subscription if you really like this content. And, you know, thank you guys so much for supporting me and giving me so much love, especially recently on the MLB The Show series, especially with the new Mario Road to the Show series. I'm really enjoying that one. I'm really enjoying content creation again. This has been fun, but thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you guys as we go through the playoffs in the next video.